to decide which candidate they'll vote in on 12th August 2021, different political to vote for them. But of course, we need to scrutinize clearly and with a critical eye, of course, on who we need to decide who's going to take us for the next 5 years and lead the mother Zambia. The Zambia that KK did, fight for, and the Zambia that KK did want to see as one Zambia, one nation. Of course, different opinion polls have been, erupted. Different, political tension has been here. Quite a lot that are affecting the electoral process. And of course, we are going to wonder what it is going to be like a few days after we vote and definitely decide on which leader we want to put on with an X. Of course, we discussed the build-up towards the elections 2021 on 12th August right here in the studios with different political parties and the stakeholders that are concerned about you sitting right there on the chair and trying to scrutinize each particular political party and candidate. Let's take a break. We'll be back on the Fearless Debate.
This is Zambia. 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 This is Zambia.
Tonight, we discussed the build-up to elections, and we do have different stakeholders in the studio to help us, deliberate and discuss this particular pertinent issue that, of course, relates to each particular Zambian, even as we're heading towards the elections. I'm going to definitely introduce my first guest, who is Namwezi Mulizwa, coming from the Democratic Party, and he's an aspiring candidate from the Chilenje ward. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Namwezi Mulizwa. I'm the aspiring candidate for Chilenje ward as councillor, and I'm coming from the Democratic Party, the party that's going to give Zambia a hope come after the 2021 elections on the 12th of August.
All right, thank you for re-emphasizing my introduction. Let's get to the other, of course, panelist, who is Wankumbu Simukonda, a governance activist. Good evening.
Good evening, moderator. Good evening to all the viewers who are watching this program right now.
All right, Tenson Manzi is our third and last guest this particular evening on Blunt Talk. He is the Lusaka District Mobilization Vice-Chairperson coming from National Restoration Party. Good evening.
Good evening, moderator and viewers out there. Thank you.
All right, we discussed the build-up to elections, ladies and gentlemen, but of course, before that, today is Heroes Day. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating Unity Day. My first question to you people, bearing in mind that, of course, like I did retaliate before we started the program, I gave you the 3 rules, but just in case, let me give them to you again. We have 3 minutes each to answer the questions I'm going to ask you this particular evening, all right? And if you need to obviously counter-react to your fellow panelists, you have your own 3 minutes that you will do either on the next question or on the same question that you will be given. Is that quite clear?
Of course.
All right, wonderful. Let's begin with Wankumbu Simukonda, the governance activist. Heroes Day and Unity Day, of course, which is today as Heroes Day, and tomorrow we'll be celebrating Unity Day. How should Zambians reflect and celebrate these days respectively?
Fortunately, unfortunately, this day has come at a time that we have lost our founding father, who united this great nation and its 73 tribes, bringing everyone together and forming government. And as we celebrate this day, we are also celebrating his life. Today was the last day that the country was paying its respect at the Woodlands Stadium, and that should be a reflecting point to say, what country did KK envision? What people did KK envision? So we have to reflect on the life of Kenneth Kaunda. We have to reflect on the oneness and the unity that we have always wanted to see as a country, and ensuring that we live in harmony. We have to denounce and say abash to tribal talk. We need to denounce and say abash to political violence, because after an election, we are one people, we are neighbors, and we are brothers and sisters in these communities where we are coming from.
Do you think we've celebrated our heroes enough as Zambia?
Well, we haven't. Firstly, I would say we haven't, because many are the times that we still have some of the people who fought for independence who are still out there and living in poverty. And when you look at that, you'll be able to understand that indeed for the people that gave us the partial freedom that we are enjoying right now, we have not celebrated them, we have not taken care of them to the fullest.
All right, and of course, let's get to the unity aspect. Have we really practiced pragmatically the issue of unity as Zambia?
Well, in the last 50 years or so, Zambia has lived in harmony. We are enjoying the peace in Zambia, but in the recent past, we have seen this peace that we've enjoyed start deteriorating at the expense of the common Zambian. And this is simply because there is a politician out there who's taking advantage of the current situation, because they want to be in State House next election cycle, and that is what every common person who should sit down, reflect, and say, I cannot fight my brother, I shall not stone, beat up my brother or sister who I've lived with the whole entire life in my community at the expense of one particular political individual or a particular political party that they want to see govern this nation in the next election cycle.
All right, your time is up, and I would love to ask the technicians to, of course, indicate the time so we can be able to follow diligently and as carefully as possible. Let's get to, of course, Mr. Namwezi Mulizwa, the DP aspiring candidate from Chilenje Ward. Heroes Day and Unity Day, how should Zambians reflect and celebrate these days respectively?
Okay, so Heroes Day is something we should celebrate and take seriously, because first of all, if we go back to 1964, look at the people who fought for our independence, they have to be highly celebrated. Talk of the likes of Kenneth Kaunda, Grey Zulu, the likes of Kapwepwe, Mainza Chona. These people have to be really celebrated. And not only those, we have a lot of heroes, our everyday heroes. We've got our marketeers who are working hard, trying to put food in their children's mouths. We've got the bus drivers who are trying to make a living for their children. Those are the actual heroes. Those are the people that are taking Zambia to another level.
And how should we reflect on it as Zambians?
We really have to take this day serious and celebrate them, because where there is no motivation, people do not work properly. But if we take it and say, okay, let's look at our headmasters, let's look at our teachers. These are the people that give their lives every day to make Zambia a better country, and these are not the people we recognize. We only see the people that fought our independence, but then there are people who are still fighting to make Zambia better.
And in the aspects of unity, has Zambia really practiced unity?
Unity. If we go back, we see unity. We see years ago when Kaunda decided, you know what, I'm stepping down as president because my country is being divided right now. So I cannot carry on and take my country, a divided country forward. So I'd rather step down. But today people are using it to ride on politics. and say, listen, let's divide these guys from this and let's find a way to win. So we've got a politician who's highly endorsing tribalism. He's trying to divide the country when actually, if you look at it in actual sense, Zambia is a united nation. But people just want to divide it so that they can use it for their gain.
And has there been efforts really done much in terms of trying to curb political violence that is disturbing the unity that Zambia should be able to celebrate, that Zambia did, of course, have because of cake?
Okay, so if we're going to look at the division happening right now, I remember it was on Muvi TV when one of the PF cadres, Munia Zulu, came and said, here in Zambia we've got the majority and the minority. So just that is a division statement to say the people from this region are the minority, they've got a few numbers, and he actually used these words: the minority can never rule the majority. So from that statement, we never saw the government speak about it or the police to take any action to say, we're not heading this way as Zambians. It was silent. So from that, we can see that there's no effort to stop this.
All right, your time is up. Thank you so much. Let's get to, of course, Mr. Tenson Manzi, who is the Lusaka District Mobilization Vice-Chairperson for NAREP. Same question with you. Heroes Day and Unity Day. How should Zambians reflect and celebrate these days respectively?
All right. Now, my brother, first of all things, we must understand what do we mean by Heroes Day, and who is supposed to be celebrated and who is a hero. Then we begin to drive back to our beginning of Zambia when it was born. Definitely, you find that why this day was created or made is because to appreciate those people that fought and struggled for independence that right now we are trying to destroy. So we must celebrate for those people, not only celebrating drinking and dancing, but also by making sure that the values which were driven by those people, to make sure that this country is in safe hands, to make sure that citizens enjoy their rights as Zambians, they will be able to celebrate and respect. But at the moment, it is difficult because many people now, they have lost the value of why heroes are there. For example, KK, as others say, the Simon Kapwepwes and all these people, if you check what they did, it was not possible, but they managed, right? Now, if you think in those lines, you'll be able to sit down and say, yes, I think these men and women, they really fought for me today to move and buy stuff in the shop freely, just like a normal human being. Before then, it was not there. Then, there I will be able to see and celebrate and make sure that this Heroes Day is respected. This day has been put, of course, to remind even us, young generation, to make sure that whatever we do now, it should make sure that the next future or next generation is put in a good situation, in a good country, in a good and free environment where all these things that we are seeing now that are trying to devaluate the heroes' efforts should not be there. So my brother, yes, we really need to celebrate and we need to reflect on those.
All right, and has there been much done in terms of unity for Zambia?
I will say yes or no. I'll answer in two ways. Number one, first, as we are standing here as generation, so I'll call them our fathers who are driving the nation now. They took over from KKs, right? From there, they haven't done much. Right?
Quickly, you have 10 more seconds. Yeah.
Okay. They haven't done much because this was supposed to be like everybody, every Zambian citizen must be able to know what is Heroes Day. Today, many people don't know what is Heroes Day. And this must be emphasized. To say Heroes Day is important and let us celebrate and respect it.
All right, thank you so much, of course, for that particular question. Let me get back to you again as we restart our 3 minutes. What is your assessment on the electoral process and the build-up towards elections so far?
All right. My brother, it's difficult. It's very difficult. More especially that it is a time when we have too many new things that has come. You talk of COVID. You talk of new other issues. We are mourning and celebrating at the same time of our founding father. So this, the assessment, the people on the ground are fatigued with a lot of things, and plus elections. And you have to go there and talk to them with the fear of COVID, but you have to tell them for the message of liberation. So people are hungry. People are fatigued with COVID. People are mourning, plus celebrating. My brother, it's not an easy ground. It's not easy, but we will. And on top of that, violence is also spreading. You see where now we need to look at Heroes Day? Violence is like, there's no regard of human life. It's very difficult at the moment. But I know one day we shall be well and we shall be free again.
What is causing the violence that is happening?
It's poverty and hunger. That's it. Poverty and hunger. That's it. Nothing else. If today I'm well and I eat 3 times, why should I throw a stone on you? Why? So this is a competition of favoritism that my boss should see me that I work hard. And if any person who tries to move away from me, I have to make sure that I guard my position and I'll do anything. Plus, leaders, they're not speaking. Why we are in politics? Why it's important to respect human life? So these issues are the ones that are causing violence, hate speech by our leaders. This is giving a virus in the compounds, coupled with hunger, as I've said. All right? Poverty, lack of employment. So people are sitting without anything. This is causing violence. And we must make sure that we check the root causing. The moment we identify that it's hunger that is causing this violence in the compounds, we need to sort out that. If it's employment that is causing violence, we must sort out that. So the cause of violence is hunger and poverty. That's it. Whatever you said is just these two. I can tell you that people that are living in Olympia and these other areas, you never see violence, like beating themselves. But to go to the compound, people are throwing stones at each other. Why?
All right. Thank you so much. Your time is up. Let's get to Namwezi Mulizwa, DP aspiring candidate from Chilenje ward. What is your assessment of the electoral process and the build-up to elections so far?
Okay, so for me, because I'm always on the ground, I'm campaigning, I'm looking at the challenges I'm facing. The first issue is security as a politician. Especially in this time, my political party is not advising us to campaign with a team because we are mourning our forefather, Mr. Kenneth Kaunda. So now, when I'm on the ground, it is not safe for me to move as a politician and campaign because people from the ruling party especially are the ones who are attacking other their political opponents and try to stop them from doing their campaigns. So,
have you experienced that?
Experiencing that, there was a time I was campaigning somewhere in Chilenje and I was warned to say, please don't touch this area because just around here we've got a few cadres that are very vicious. So,
Which party did warn you?
No, not the party, but the people I was campaigning to.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, right now, as I am talking, people want change in Chilenje. They really want change. So, when they saw me, they said, listen, we're interested in what you're doing and we're interested in your political party. But we do not want to endanger your life. So, please stay away find another way of coming here.
And did you definitely report that to the relevant authorities?
No, I did not. Why should I report something when it has not happened to me?
Well, you are being warned.
Yes, I have been warned by the people, but I have not been attacked. So I'll take that warning, but I will not go and file a statement to say,
I want to know your next step. What did you do after being warned in that particular manner?
A wise man always takes heed in warning. So the best thing I have to do is I have to make sure that the next time I go to that place, I'll go there when it's safe, when I have a few people to go with. If I encounter any challenges, that's when I can take action to the police.
All right, yeah. Continue with your assessment.
So, as I am assessing, these are going to be the most interesting elections in Zambia, especially looking at the fact that people are only looking at two parties, when that's not the case. Us, the Democratic Party, are working very hard, and people really want us to come in power. So now the issue is with how people are looking at it, and if you look at the ECZ, we've not seen much from them in sensitizing us on how to campaign. They never called or contacted me to say this is your campaign schedule, and that we're not facing that. So when we're on the ground, we've got a challenge. We might bump into each other. It might be a fight. So these are the challenges I'm facing. But then, if we just look at it, here in these elections.
All right, quickly wind up.
All right. So in these elections, the issue is there is no transparency from the ECZ, and this is making things very. How can I put it? It's like an anonymous situation.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's get to Wankumbu Simukonda, the governance activist. And of course, what is your assessment to the electoral process at the moment, and of course with the build-up to elections?
Well, to start with, this is an interesting year. You know, probably because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of things have been changed in the way they were previously done. And I know my colleagues from the political circles are experiencing a whole lot of different approach. They have to do things differently. They have to be innovative on how they are going to reach these electorates. And even if they have to be innovative, are these electorates ready to receive information from that innovative way of how they are going to reach or to be reached by the political players? So my assessment, of course, is that it has been a difficult year for both the political players, the Electoral Commission. Obviously, I'm not a spokesperson, but my understanding is that it has been a difficult year. We have seen how they have held a number of briefings. Some of those briefings not seeming consultative to the electoral players, and they have gone ahead to make decisions which we have seen. Today there is some interesting story. The Electoral Commission issued a statement about how the Patriotic Front have managed to send an observer, while PAC and the UPND have not. But probably as we are speaking now, I received some notification that they have also managed to do that. So my assessment, generally, irrespective of those hiccups which have happened there, is that this is an interesting year, and everyone should keep their eyes open and ensure that we hold these elections in the most peaceful manner. And at the end of the day, we should not endanger the lives of people who are the electorates, who our colleagues, the political players, would want to superintend or to govern over after these elections. So I'm happy to hear that my colleagues are campaigning, engaging people in smaller numbers, the door-to-door campaigns, and that is what should be encouraged. And as we are doing that, let's ensure that we observe all the COVID-19 protocols, so that once they win these elections, they are going to govern a country with healthy people, with numbers that are supposed to be in this particular country. So from what has been done so far, to the build-up to these elections, we now have the printing of the ballot papers. Are we going to see a transparent way of the monitoring? Are we going to see a transparent way of information flowing to and from the Commission and the general public, even up to the day of voting? Are we going to see a well-managed election? And now this will not only go to the Electoral Commission, but then it will also go to other stakeholders like yourselves, myself, and everyone out there who's watching. What role are they going to play to ensure that we have a credible election that is going to see Zambia transition from that particular point into another governance cycle after the August 12 elections?
As an activist who is closely monitoring the electoral process, do you believe ECZ has been consultative to all political parties?
Yes and no. Like I said in my preamble, some of the meetings that we have seen ECZ hold, we expect them that when they sit with these electoral players, these people should say, okay, for us, ECZ, this is what we want things to go. And when ECZ listens to those, they should be able to even U-turn their decision, because the people that are employing them, the people that are giving them the monies, it's those people who are participating in these elections. So some of the decisions which ECZ has made were supposed to be consultative, and as an individual, I feel some of them have not been very consultative.
All right. Back to you, Wankumbu Simukonda. Your 3 minutes starts immediately after my question. The Political Science Association of Zambia, in collaboration with international organizations, did release an opinion poll with over 50,000 participants from 5 provinces, which of course has received a lot of mixed feelings from different public players and different societies of political parties per se. What is your reaction to the opinion poll?
Well, interesting. I know those people that watched the news yesterday could have seen that I was actually part of that the team that attended that opinion poll revealing of the findings. And while I was following the presentation which was made, I had a lot of questions within myself, and probably these are the ones that have caused these mixed feelings and reactions out there. Look, sometimes I jokingly tell my friends that ichaloli donkey ngawaipa kupone. And people who are our political players, I know my colleagues here, could probably attach emotional attachment to that opinion poll, probably because it has not favored them. But remember that, and I want the viewers out there to know that an opinion poll is just an opinion. Even if it's a retro sense, it can be right and it can be wrong. Yeah. But what the political players should do now is to look at that opinion poll and say, what should we learn from this? The opinion poll is saying that the Patriotic Front presidential candidate will probably get about 44%, while the closest rival will be from the UPND will get about 30.3%. What does that mean? If I were a political leader, I would be saying, okay, this is probably suggesting a rerun after this, because in Zambia, we are no longer working with the first past the post. It's about the majoritarian. So what role should that opinion poll play? It should open these political players to say, where or how can we get hold of this undecided population so that they are on our camp? How are we going to interact or engage this particular political party? Should we go for a rerun? So those are some of the things that our friends in the active politics or in active politics should be speaking to. Because if they miss this and attach emotions and react so badly to this, then they are going to miss it. Whoever will be swift at the end of the day will be jubilating after that rerun, should it be called. So there are all these things that are surrounding this opinion poll that the political players, instead of criticizing it, that opinion poll could be right and could be wrong, because people are yet to cast their votes, and that opinion poll is only coming from about 5 provinces, I'm told.
All right, so there are some reactions from the UPND who've called that opinion poll as a joke. And there are also reactions from Socialist Party who've claimed that that opinion poll was sponsored rather by patriotic front. Would you agree to those sentiments?
You know, I wouldn't agree to any of those, but I'll share my opinion, like we are speaking about the opinion poll,
Quickly, yeah.
is that, you know, when such is done, in politics, everything is possible. You know, we have seen certain individuals being sponsored to issue certain statements or to speak on certain forums,
Yeah.
but that opinion poll is coming from an independent source. But like I've said, what lessons are the people picking from there? Is it psyching people to vote otherwise? Or is it being used by certain politicians
All right.
for or against to ensure that people's agenda
All
is
right.
changed?
Thank you so much. DP, let's get to you, the independent Chilenje Ward councillor. With regards to the opinion poll, what is your reaction?
All right. So one thing we must understand first is these are politics. And in politics, they are mind games. So I am on the ground. If we are saying, according to this opinion poll, if they are saying PF are winning this election, if that opinion poll is based on chitenges and t-shirts, yes, they are winning the election. But if it comes to people, no, they are not. And honestly speaking, it looks like this election is between two parties. Trust me, it is not. Because I am on the ground, I am campaigning, and I can assure you that as the Democratic Party, we are equally candidates to win this election. And come 12th of August, we will shock Zambia. Mark my words, we will shock Zambia. 12th of August, Democratic Party is coming in power. So we know every political party has a strategy to campaign. And if we start listening to these opinion polls, they are just going to bring anxiety amongst us, and then we'll start finding other ways to push and see how we can work. But trust me, we're sticking to our plan despite this opinion poll. We're sticking to our plan, and we'll continue to campaign the way we've been campaigning.
It seems that you're trying to incite that it was initially, pushed by the patriotic front, because you're saying these are mind games.
Okay,
Yeah.
If you look at it, in as much as it is coming from an independent source, the Electoral Commission of Zambia is equally an independent source. But then they are saying we should not have anyone to monitor our ballot papers. Now, if you look at this, an independent source is saying that there's no transparency in our election, and then this other independent source giving us these opinion polls is also telling us something. So how can we trust anyone at this time? So what we have to do right now is just stick to our plan and keep campaigning.
All right, let me get to you, Narep, Mobilization Vice-Chairperson. What is your thoughts on the opinion poll that has been released at the moment?
Well, for us as NAREP, National Restoration Party, we have no time to start putting our time and then talking about opinion polls. It's their opinion. You understand? It's their opinion. Let them be. But for us, I mean, we are determined to restore our nation. We are not going to campaign according to the opinion poll. No. Opinions have always been cast. In 2016, there was opinion poll. In US, there was opinion poll before Trump won. Were those opinions correct? So, anyway, for NAREP, we are not into that. Whether they use mind game, whether they do anything, the fact is, National Restoration Party, come 12th August, we are taking over. We are we're restoring our country to make sure that the Zambian people are back to normal lives. We make sure that Zambia is for Zambians. We make sure that banks are owned by Zambians. Land is owned by Zambians. Mines are owned by, industries are owned by Zambians. You understand? That is our job at the moment, not to listen to opinions.
Well, of course, not listen to opinions, but
Yes.
of course, opinion polls is an act of, democracy, and of course, they play a very, very critical role
Yes.
in trying to, of course, see how the voter behavior, the candidates will choose at the end of the day.
My brother, they did not do the opinion poll on the ballot.
It was done with electorates who are voting this year.
Who are by now, they can change their mind in 2 minutes. You understand? This, for me, for NAREP, it does not matter, as I've told you. For us, it doesn't matter. Whether they say Edgar Lungu will win 100%, we are not going to spend much time. For us, our main focus is to speak to that Zambian, educate that Zambian. This is not the life you live as a human being. And that is our message. And people are getting that message. So whether those opinion polls that were done, I don't know where they were done, and in fact, if they were done in 5 provinces, I don't know. Let them be. But for us, we don't care.
Won't you take it as a lesson or as something that you can learn from?
What lesson?
Well, of course, getting to realize that, you know, it's obviously projecting the number that you will get as NAREP.
My brother, do you understand politics?
I'm a political journalist.
Thank you very much. Now, if you understand that, in politics, there's also mind games.
Well,
so that mind game for us is not going to work. We may learn 1 or 2 things. Let's say, okay, maybe we are doing less plan, but to tell you the fact, us, from the beginning of the campaign, from the beginning of the party, from the beginning of the writing of our constitution, our work is to make sure that Zambians are done. Whether there's opinion poll or not, for us, our opinion is on the membership that we have. That's our opinion.
Are you also trying to insinuate that the PF did obviously try to, you know, sponsor or, you know, push this particular opinion poll?
My brother,
for the sake of mind games.
For NAREP, there's nothing like to point fingers. If that's their game, let it be if they've sponsored. If they haven't sponsored...
No, you're talking about mind games.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying, it's politics. So if they've done that, for us, because what it is now, I've seen that a lot of people are touching emotions. That means that this thing has entered into their minds, and therefore, they are frustrated. They may not concentrate on whatever they're telling the people. So for us, that's why we have refused to say, this opinion poll, let it be.
A quick comment.
All right. No, you definitely have your 3 minutes, Mr. Wankumbu Simukonda. And obviously, this question is actually going to you, Mr. Simukonda. And of course, you'll be able to answer or counter-react within your 3 minutes after this question. So now, political parties have failed to send representatives to monitor the printing of ballots in Dubai, even after adequate notice from the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Your perspective?
Well, first of all, I would want to reiterate Michael on the opinion poll, because while opinion polls have an opportunity to be right or to be wrong, I believe, and I'm encouraging my colleagues in the political circles to pick lessons from there, okay? Because this opinion poll will tell them what they are doing right or where they are not doing right. But if they are going to be emotional about it, well, they are going to miss the point, and the people that are behind this, if there's anyone who's behind it, they are going to gain at the end of the day. But
you have your 3 minutes, Mr.
But my core is that people should pick lessons from there, because it's showing the behavior of people. And just like anyone can sit today and say, let me use you as a political journalist to go and speak to my colleague, because you are an independent and probably is going to be free to speak to you. And in that opinion poll, I saw some of the comments that were coming, why this particular political party got a certain number of votes in a particular area and in a particular province, and those things were being explained. But if people are going to miss it and not pick lessons, well, we have to see and say, okay, let this opinion poll be done and dusted. But coming to your question now about political parties not sending representatives to the printing of ballot papers, that makes a sad reading for a governance activist like myself, because we are going to see people crying a foul play at the end of the day because they did not plan. And, you know, due to COVID, we said this election is a whole different election. It should be last month or in May, when we had the United Arab Emirates list countries of people that should not travel to their country. And Zambia was one of the countries that were listed. So I expected that our colleagues in the political circles needed to start planning from that particular point going forward to say, how are we going to ensure that we get the COVID protocols to travel to this particular country so that we planned for this? We expected our colleagues in the political circles to sit together and say, how are we going to ensure that we transport people, we ferry people to these printing places so that everything runs smoothly. So we expect that they are going to do that now that it's only local government positions which are being printed, councillors and all that. We expect that by the time we are reaching mayoral and parliamentary printing of the ballot papers, we are going to expect that all our colleagues that are supposed to send observers there would have done so, so that no one says these ballot papers have been tampered with. And I expect that the Electoral Commission of Zambia...
15 seconds more. I need to ask you this particular question. There's been a reaction from UPND, of course, claiming that they blame ECZ for not having, the candidates being flown to Dubai. Well,
that's a biased question, because obviously I would love to speak, and when I speak it would seem maybe ECZ is to blame. And let me reiterate my call that we expect ECZ to sit with its political players who are the key stakeholders in this. That's why people at ECZ are even employed, because we have got people that are participating in these elections. And we expect that they should be in touch quite often so that they discuss all these things, so that we do not have someone crying foul to say ECZ was delaying the process of giving the accreditation.
Thank you so much. I've given you enough time, Mr. Wankumbu Simukonda. Let's move to the DP candidate, of course, Namwezi Mulizwa. Same question with you. Opposition political parties have failed, including yourself, of course, have failed to send representatives to monitor the printing of the ballots in Dubai. And of course, even after adequate information or informing or notice from the Electoral Commission of Zambia, your perspective on that?
Okay, so the question here will be, was the communication properly done? Because if you look at it, ECZ is one institution against how many political parties? Do we have 16 political parties taking part in these elections? So if you look at it properly, how do ECZ how do 16 parties fail to send a representative to check for to monitor the printing of the ballot papers? If you look at it properly, you're telling me not even one from the 16.
No, there's the PF, Patriotic Front is there.
Patriotic Front, they're sending a representative, right?
Yeah, Davis Chama is already there.
The ruling party are sending a representatives, right? But then none of the oppositions are sending. So you could clearly see that this thing wasn't properly done. Because I'm telling you this, and this is what I'm telling you is factual. I remember when we had to register our polling agents for the nominations at ECZ. I received a call at night on Friday to say, we have to do that tomorrow morning. When I went there in the morning, I found a lot of people, including the UPND, and they were saying this thing started on Monday, but the UPND found out on Friday. And the ECZ said they communicated. Now, how is it that the opposition are always behind compared to the ruling party? So you could actually see that, you can smell a rat to say, how come PF are always ahead? PF are always doing the right thing, and the other 15 political parties are doing the wrong thing. So I'm not trying to shoot, but I'm trying to paint a clear picture to say, there's no way 15 political parties would fail to send representatives to monitor ballot papers while one manages to do that. So this thing wasn't properly communicated. And earlier my brother said, there are issues of Dubai, they might be restricting some countries from... We have this COVID. We can clearly see, we can clearly plan to say, listen, we've got this issue. We sit down as political parties and the ECZ and say, we've got this issue. How are we going to tackle this? Because your people won't be allowed to go to Dubai to monitor the printing of ballot papers. So we have to find a way to do this. But they have not done that. They have not.
All right, just quickly, this is ironically, this is ironic rather for me. Your party did not apply for accreditation for the documents towards ECZ. Why is that so?
Okay, from what you're saying,
yeah,
I have not heard, this is the first time, this is music to my ears right now. If that was true, if I heard that earlier, I would have spoken about it, but this is when I'm listening about this.
Do you engage yourself in political activities from the DP?
Very much.
Are you up to date?
I'm very much up to date.
Why did you fail to send someone, to be accredited to ECZ?
We did not fail to send someone because this thing wasn't properly communicated to us. If it was properly communicated, we would have sent people.
All right, thank you so much. Same question to you from NAREP. Quickly, because the time is really running out now, be able to answer it within 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
All right. So the issue of sending observers in Dubai. Now, this is where now we talk about, say, is our laws, okay, all right, in accordance with the political parties, number one. Because what is happening now, it's like the richer people, whether wise or not, they must be the president. The issue is, I'm talking about funds. 2016, ECZ supported, sponsored the observers to Dubai. Why not now? What is new?
Well, they've clearly mentioned that they cannot manage.
How? So if the ECZ, which is funded by number one government and other donors, cannot manage to do that, what about a political party? Does it mean that if you are a political party, you must be rich? Is it that a qualification for you to have a political party, for you to run for presidency? No. So the issue is because of the laws. Communications here and there, the fact is, there is no money, it's very expensive. We've got a lot of issues. We need to campaign, which is a new thing that we're doing. A lot of expenses are there. We expect the government to, in support of democracy, to say, okay, because of this, we'll do as we did in 2016. Probably maybe amend the laws. Why now?
Well,
ECZ is the best organization that can seek and lobby funds to make sure that they support just one person. It's enough. Okay? So issues of money also plays in.
So is that the reason why you didn't send an observer as NAREP?
Yes, we don't have money. We cannot manage.
But you are reliably informed that you need to send an observer, isn't it?
Yes, we were.
Well, as NAREP, we've seen banners and posters with quite a lot of money. Tell me that you would fail to send one observer, you've spent quite a lot of money to just be able to participate in the elections.
My brother, this is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Those monies that we are doing, the campaign issue, this is what we are saying, that this campaign is more expensive than ever. To add again, to go to Dubai, how much money? How long are they going to be there? You understand? So that's the thing. ECZ and the government must make sure that they support these political parties, because tomorrow are the ones that will be there. So it's like we have sold leadership to the highest bidder.
All right. I know your time is up, but I'll give you 5 more seconds. Different political parties have reacted differently on this particular issue at the moment. Others are saying there's nothing to monitor because, in as much as they'll send someone there, they won't actually monitor the actual printing of ballot papers. Would you agree to that?
Yes. And that's why we are saying the money that we need to mobilize, we mobilize money for campaigns.
All right.
And we must attach relevance to it. Whatever the little we find, we must attach relevance to it.
Okay, thank you so much. 30 seconds each, and please, I would really appreciate if you stuck to the time. 30 seconds. Your last words to the electorates ahead of the elections. Yourself, from NAREP. Quickly, 30 seconds.
Okay, so, my people out there, Zambians, let's have the passion for our country. NAREP is offering good policies. We must ask ourselves, who owns banks? Who owns big funds? Right now, if you go to Lusaka West, who owns those funds? All right?
You have 10 more seconds.
Why education? We're offering education, free education plus skill and vocational education. That's what we are giving to you, Zambians, so that you are alone, self-reliant.
All right. Thank you so much. DP, 30 seconds.
Okay, so my message to Zambians is let's not be reactive to the current situation right now, but instead, let's be proactive. And how can we do that? We vote for Harry Kalaba for president. We vote for Fred Mubanga for Kawata constituency as member of parliament, and Wisdom Mulizwa myself for Chilenje ward as councillor. That's
All right, thank you. Simukonda Wankumbu, 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. My appeal to the political players is that they have to do their very best. They have to be up to speed to what is happening in the country and engage the Electoral Commission of Zambia. My other appeal is to the electorate, my fellow electorates out there, is that let
This is Zambia.